Hello and welcome to Starport Resort. This is episode 7. It's June the 6th, 2015, and I'm your host, Mad Moai.
And then Mel.
Alright, let's get right into it. You've been playing The Witcher 3?
I have. I've been kind of chopping my time up between Witcher 3 and replaying Eternal Darkness because I rebought that GameCube months ago and I never played it. So that's what I've been playing.
You've never played Eternal Darkness?
No, I did, but I have a GameCube and I think I turned it on one time since buying it. So I was like, I got time now, I should do that.
Justify that purchase.
Exactly.
I guess I'll leave it up to you which one you want to talk about first. Although I will say that I've been playing The Witcher 1, so maybe you should start with Eternal Darkness.
Ooh. Well, I don't think I would spoil anything. I mean,
No,
I'm
saying you can talk about Witcher 3 and then I'll follow up with what I've experienced with Witcher 1.
I have more to talk about with Witcher, so you go first with Witcher 1.
No, it's you, because I'm going to probably build off of what you're going to say.
Alright, well, I played Eternal Darkness back when it first came out. I think it was like a Christmas gift, if I remember correctly. But, I don't know. I love survival horror, and it's one of the few well-done survival horror games that are in existence. So, it holds up pretty well. I think the GameCube controller is one of my favorite controllers ever.
See, people say that a lot, but I don't dig it at all. I think it's too small, and it's really kind of wonky in its layout.
I don't know. I always felt super comfortable to me. I always liked it. I mean, the game itself, the sanity aspect of the game is real fun. It's got that, Lovecraft influence going there big time.
I think I've seen some gameplay of it. I saw some deep ones looking guys. Like those fish people, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a really good game. Like, if you've never played it, I think honestly it might be worth like the cost of like a GameCube at this point, because you can usually find a good one for like $45.
I have a GameCube, but is the game
Yeah.
expensive?
I think I got it for like $20 or something. It was fairly cheap.
That's good. So, I'm not a big fan of survival horror myself, so it's probably not a good fit for me, but fans of the genre, you might say.
Yeah, well, I think even if you aren't, you would still enjoy it because
of the Lovecraftian influence? You think that'd be enough for me?
It has good puzzle solving too.
It's about $40 here, I see, online.
Oh, I must have gotten lucky.
So that's not too bad.
Or it's gone up.
And that's for the game only, so that's for just the little disc.
Oh wow, see, when I bought it, it came with the case, it has everything inside, it has all the original instruction manuals and stuff, so I must have gotten lucky.
When did you pick that up?
I don't know, like 6 months ago?
Did you get it at a yard sale or something? Oh no, on eBay I'm seeing it for about $45, so $60. So, yeah, it seems to be about, you got a really good deal then, I guess.
I guess so.
Feel good about it.
The only one I'll ever get.
Is there anything else you wanted to talk about with regards to Eternal Darkness?
Nah, I think at this point, most people are pretty familiar with it. It's been around and talked about for years.
Fair enough.
I don't think I bring anything new to it.
So The Witcher 3 then?
Yeah, pretty game.
Pretty game?
Pretty game.
And has your computer had any trouble with it? Running it?
Nope. At all.
Did you turn the weird hair thing off? Because that's what I hear has been causing the most trouble for people.
No, I didn't have to do anything.
Oh. Are you running it on Ultra or anything, or just high, or?
Most things are on Ultra or high.
Dang. Maybe people have been exaggerating for how hard it is to run.
Yeah, and my rig isn't exactly $6,000 worth of stuff in there either, so I don't know. I haven't had any performance issues at all with it.
Now, have you played the other two Witcher games?
Yes.
Okay, and do you think, a lot of people have been saying they were able to jump in on this one. Do you feel it's been casualized or just streamlined? Or is it somewhere in the middle?
I don't... No, I think they're talking more in regards to the story, in the world building. Like, you can jump in at 3. I mean, you'd be missing out on a lot, and some things that are important wouldn't strike you as being important, but I don't think you would miss out on that much just starting at number 3. I really don't. I think it'd be fine.
So you think people are they're feeling okay about it due to the plot?
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people were bitching about the way the combat was in Witcher 2.
How so?
Like, a lot of what I heard was people said it was too much all at once, like it was too complicated. They were complaining that you had to learn how to block or something like that.
I mean, it's a game. Like, that's just how the game works. I mean, there is a bit of a learning curve, definitely, even to The Witcher 3. I mean, there's a lot there, and but it's a big game, and you have a lot of time to figure it out. So, and you're not really penalized early on for like not knowing what's going on. I don't think so.
Now, compared to Witcher 1 and 2, do you think Witcher 3 is a bigger game? Was Witcher 2 significantly smaller than Witcher 1?
I'll have to get back when I actually get to the end.
Okay.
I can't comment on that yet.
Because I know I'm 10 hours into The Witcher 1 and I feel like I've barely scratched the surface. My friend played it recently.
Same way with Witcher 3 at this point. 10 or 15 hours in, it's like, oh, you're still at the beginning. So...
That's good. It seems I've got a lot of good gameplay ahead of me then.
Yeah,
between all 3 of those games.
The enhanced edition of Witcher 1 or whatever?
Yeah, I picked it up late last year. I want to say the holiday sale of 2014. So I just, seeing everybody really praising The Witcher 3, I'm like, okay, I gotta get caught up here then. And
yeah.
I guess I'll let you talk about Witcher 3 before I get into...
Well, I was going to comment that when they originally released The Witcher, it was a janky piece of shit. Like, the game was just...
Was it?
Oh, it was buggy, it was just not a well-built game, but props to them. Anybody who bought that, they released that enhanced edition where it fixed everything, and they got it for free.
That's good on them, then. That's how you're supposed to,
Yeah.
You patch your fucking games.
They're like, basically, they were a small company at the time, there wasn't a lot of people, and they kind of aimed for the moon there, and
yeah, it's an ambitious game.
And they missed their mark the first time, but then when they went back and fixed it, anybody who had originally purchased the game could get the fixed version for free.
That's good. That's how you build up goodwill with your consumer base, and that's probably why people still talk up CD Projekt Red. Like, I've never heard a bad thing about it from anybody who knew what they were talking about.
But yeah, so far The Witcher 3 is kind of, it's more of The Witcher, just a little bit better. I like the menus a little bit better this time around. It's kind of funny having to go back and make... It's been so long, since I played a new game where it's like, oh, I have to manually go equip things, I need to make sure I put my food in my bag so I can eat it.
It's a proper-ass video game.
Stuff like that, so...
I guess it has been a while since a game's been, just proper, you know what I mean?
Like an RPG?
Yeah, like an RPG where you actually have to manage shit instead of just, I don't know, push the auto level up button, fuck it.
Yeah. So far it's been a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. I'm not, super, super deep into the game to where I can, make a clear judgment on it, but so far I'm having a blast with it. So
that's good.
It's a solid game. It looks really pretty. It plays well. That recent patch they had fixed some of the control issues I was having, because I'm playing it with a controller even on the PC, because it just seems to play better with a controller, and some games do. It's
third-person games I generally play with a controller.
Yeah, it feels weird with the keyboard and mouse to me. I don't know. That's just me, though.
Have you had any problems with I've heard people complain about the movement, the input lag.
I did, but that recent patch fixed it.
Oh, it got rid of all that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. In the beginning, I would, go to switch my camera, and it would just fly around, and I was like, boy, this is disorienting. But they seemed to have addressed it.
It's also nice to hear that a company, so soon after release, they're patching out the big bugs, they're fixing shit, they're getting it working.
Yeah, I mean,
Instead
as
of working on more shit to sell you.
far
You
as
know
a
what I mean?
developer goes, they're one of my favorites because they seem, they have integrity. Their product matters to them, and that's important to me.
Them Slavs know how to make good games. Alrighty. It works well now for me to move on to The Witcher 1, unless you got something else you want to say about Witcher 3.
Nope, go ahead.
First thing I want to say is I was really surprised with how well Witcher 1 is held up. Like, even when I was asking if I had to play Witcher 1 and 2 before 3, everyone said absolutely play 2, but you could probably skip 1. And most people seem to say, like, 1's optional, and the controls might really put you off. And to be fair, the first 5 minutes or so, it really freaked me out. Do you remember how that game plays?
Yeah, the first one, the first, I don't know, the 5 or 10 minutes, you're just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. So, if for anybody who hasn't played the first Witcher game, you move your camera with your mouse, right? And then you click on things to go run up to them. Is what it initially, that's how I thought the whole game worked, and then you found out you can sort of clunkily use WASD. But then you click on an enemy, and then combat is just timing with clicks. Like, you look at a sword icon and you chain together combos and shit like that. So once I was able to wrap my head around that, though, it's a really simple system, and the gameplay is, it's more focused on the RPG elements rather than the combat. So, for example, it's way more important to apply the right oil to your blade rather than, twitch reflexes. Because I think parrying automatically happens in Witcher 1.
I think so. That sounds right.
So really all I have to worry about is dodging and crowd control. And then, just timing the clicks, which is anybody who's ever played a video game, it's not a problem. So, if you've heard that Witcher 1 is frightening and really janky, I think it holds up really well. I wouldn't be scared off by it if anybody's been scared off by the reputation it has. Cause,
I think like most games worth playing, it has a little bit of a learning curve, but it's
yeah, and the learning curve was like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
it snapped real easy for me. So, graphically, I'm surprised at how well it holds up, especially considering, I looked, and it came out, I want to say 2006 or 7, or maybe 2008, somewhere around there, a long time ago as far as games are concerned.
But it was like 2007, something like that, yeah.
So, I'm wondering if they've upgraded the graphics over the time or anything, or if it just looked that nice when Enhanced Edition came out. Because it looks better than a lot of PS3 games, even late cycle.
Their games always look really nice. They always have really pretty games.
So that was also surprising, because, with Witcher 1, everything I'd heard, I was just expecting this huge janky mess that is totally optional, but, it seems just as dense and interesting as everything I've heard about Witcher 3. I care about all the side quests to the point where I'm just fucking around in the first city. I played for 5 hours the other night, and I feel like I barely scratched the surface of the temple district I'm in. I'm just running around doing detective shit.
Barely started.
So yeah, I'm really glad I decided to go through Witcher 1, 2, and 3 the way I'm planning on doing it, because, as you know, if you jump in late into a series, it's really hard to go back into older entries, because you're used to things they've refined over the time. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I made the mistake of playing the Game Boy Advance Metroidvanias in reverse order. So by the time I got to Circle of the Moon, I was just like, what is this janky horseshit? It was a big bummer. Whereas if I'd done it in the right order, it would have, first game would have been really good, and then every other game just builds on that. So that's how I like to experience a series. Which is why it was important for me to play Witcher 1 and then 2, and then I'll get to 3. And by the time I get to 3, it'll probably be really cheap, because these are huge games.
Yep.
So that's good. I also really dig the fact that I have to actually buy books and read them so I can then actually go and read the bestiary entries.
Yeah,
which it teaches you strategy, and it'll help you out because it gets you more loot when you kill them.
Yeah,
So
even in Witcher 3, the bestiary is still there, and you have to go read it if you want to know how to kill certain things.
so that is an awesome mechanic in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
because it incentivizes you to do your homework rather than just fucking run out there and get your shit handed to you.
Yep.
So I really dig it, and I imagine I'm going to enjoy all 3 games quite a bit. So I guess I'll keep you posted on
You got
Witcher
a
1.
long road ahead of you with those games.
Yeah, but if it's all
I'm excited.
this high quality, I am ready for that road. So that's good. I've been playing a lot of fucking games these 2 weeks here, so I'll just run down the list. Phantasy Star. I finally got a Sega Genesis that works, so I went hard into the Phantasy Star because, obviously I've been waiting for a while to get my hands on that game. If, anybody who's listened probably heard me bitching about all my broken Segas and my expensive hardware I had to buy for Phantasy Star, so I'm happy to say it was worth the money, in my opinion. That's a good game. That's an important game, too, for RPG history.
Definitely.
Did you ever play Phantasy Star? Any of them?
I played the original as a kid. I mean, I was pretty young, so...
You had access to a Master System?
Yep.
Huh. I've never even seen a Master System.
This was back when Kmart was going out of... Like, the Kmart here. Like, there's a Kmart here. For some reason, there's still a Kmart here. And
there's still Kmarts around?
Apparently, there's one here. It's a depressing place, and I absolutely despise walking into it. But many years ago, they had all these like leftovers from like the Genesis and Super Nintendo stuff that were just like unsold and were sitting. And like nobody in my area is gonna want to buy those. So they had like Master System and they had all kinds of stuff there that we picked up for like stupid cheap.
That's awesome. That was right around the time when like all this old shit was really cheap because everyone was moving on to new shit, right?
Yep.
So that was a good time. I remember just going to pawn shops. It's like, oh shit, all these Super Nintendo games are like $5.
Yep.
And had I known where shit was gonna go, I would have maybe been more proactive about picking shit up.
Seriously.
Because I figured, it's not gonna. Who the fuck cares about this old stuff? Only hardcore gamers like myself. But joke's on me, I guess. So did you enjoy Phantasy Star as a kid?
Yeah, I mean I liked it, but it was a little. It wasn't that difficult as far as RPGs go.
Yeah, the ability to save anywhere really makes a big difference.
Yeah, I remember liking it.
Yeah, I mean I really liked the what they did with the first-person dungeons, especially on an 8-bit system.
Yeah, those were pretty cool.
If you're talking 8-bit graphical power, Phantasy Star is probably one of the most impressive games I've seen graphically.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
So I was, it's good. That's a happy ending to my story of insanity with crazy purchases.
It works now.
Space Harrier for the Master System, it also works, but it left me wanting. And then a friend of mine on the stream site I frequent, he told me that there's a really good port of it on the 3DS, where they actually made it all 3D and shit.
Really?
Yeah, so I bought that and blew through that in about 10 minutes. But goddamn, Space Harrier is a good game, and the one on the 3DS there, that is probably the best port of Space Harrier I've ever seen. Like, as soon as I started playing that, it completely negated the desire I had to pick up a 32X again, just for Space Harrier.
Very nice.
So, anybody jonesing for Space Harrier, check out the 3DS eShop port, because that's fantastic. And then, since I had my Genesis hooked up, I decided I wanted to work on a couple more games, Golden Axe and Golden Axe 2. So, Golden Axe is really hard when you're playing by yourself and actually trying to beat the game.
Yes, it is.
Especially, like, Golden Axe 1 is, you can't fuck around. Like, the only way I even managed to scrape through that game was exploiting holes and stuff. Like, just knocking fuckers into holes, rather than... Because, yeah, that game, if you get surrounded, you're just kind of fucked. So it took me about a week to, off and on practicing, probably like 5 attempts to beat Golden Axe. And I'm moving on to Golden Axe 2, and I did that, I think, 3 or 4 attempts, because the game controls a lot better, so it's a lot easier, it turns out. But still, both are really good games. If anybody hasn't played Golden Axe, that series, or Streets of Rage, really,
my brother and I used to play those like a ridiculous amount when we were kids.
Yeah, I love brawlers, especially co-op, even though it's, you're kind of at a disadvantage in Golden Axe because you eat into the same pool of credits when you get game overs, and you can't exploit the AI as much because there's 2 targets for it to follow. You know what I mean? A lot of Golden Axe is exploiting AI, but I think that's more or less just a staple of the beat 'em up genre. You got to jump and attack and just stay out of the way, otherwise you're just gonna get pummeled to death.
Yeah.
So them Golden Axe games, I played a bunch of those. Puzzle and Dragons I've been tinkering with, mostly on the bus to and from work. I'm not liking that as much as I thought I was going to.
Really? Why not?
Well, now this could be that I'm just really shitty at the game, but it feels super grindy. And what I mean by that is you have so many allies you have to use, right? Like, you've got a team of 6 people, and then some maps is just you don't have access to one of the elements, so you got to sub in a bunch of the other elements. So you got to cycle through a bunch of different party members really frequently, which I'm not used to because I usually just pick a solid party and stick with it in games like that. But you don't have the option to do that. So, for example, you'd be expected to have like 4 Goombas that you can just sub in if you really need a lot of grass power, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what it feels like is, because I've got so many party members, when I have to cycle them all out all the time, I feel underleveled for a lot of the games, or a lot of the rounds. So then I'll have to go back and just grind a bunch on older stages trying to get more party members. And then when I come back, it's just fine because my dudes have leveled up. So I feel like it's really grindy, but it's not a fun kind of grind, because it's also really random in deciding if you get party members. Like, I've been trying to get a piranha plant for probably hours now, and I just can't get one to drop, so to say. Because, if I'm going to have like 4 different party members of all these different elements, I at least want to diversify them. I don't just want 4 Goombas,
Yeah, I can understand that, yeah.
So I might, maybe when something else clicks with that game, I'll enjoy it a lot more, but so far it's just, I'm really lukewarm on the game, to the point where some mornings I just don't feel like even turning it on, which is not a good sign for your portable game.
Nope.
It's like, I'd rather just sit here and stare out the fucking window than play the game, so I guess that doesn't speak well to it. Also, I picked up a game called Fatal Labyrinth for the Sega Genesis.
Never even heard of that.
Okay, so it's a roguelike for the Sega Genesis, which kind of blew my mind because
I didn't know there was one.
Yeah, me too. So basically, it's standard roguelike, like it's turn-based, grid-based. You walk around, pick shit up, you can throw items. Did you ever play As Your Dreams for the Game Boy Color? Because it functions really similarly to that.
I don't think I did.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to get into that. Although that reminds me, I'm going to put that on a game showcase in the future, because that's a 10 out of 10 game. Okay. Anyway, it's a Sega Genesis roguelike. It's pretty punishing to the point where you've got a food system. Mm-hmm. So, like, you'll walk around and it'll slowly drain. But if you eat too much food, like, you find food lying on the ground. If you eat over a certain threshold, you'll get a stomach ache, and you'll function at, like, half speed, which really fucks you up until you work it all out of your system. And then if you eat more after that, you'll die of gluttony. But then if you don't eat enough, you'll die of starvation, so that's a constant pressure on you. You've got to keep track of your food, and when you even find food, you have to consider, like, the food can either recover 10, 20, or 30, so you have to be like, is it worth it to risk eating this food and putting me over that hunger threshold, because they'll kick the shit out of you if you're moving at half speed, because every enemy gets 2 turns then until you work off all that extra food. So it's a pretty unforgiving game. There's also secret doors, so I got like to the 4th floor or whatever, and I had to turn the game off because I was trying to push A against every single wall, trying to figure out where to go, and I was running out of food, and I just got fed up with it. So that's a game that might take me a long time to beat, because it'll kick your ass.
That's good though.
Yeah, it's good. No, I like hidden gems like that. Just like, oh, here's this thing like most people never heard about, and it turns out it is exactly my kind of game. Because I've been about roguelikes even before I knew what the genre was called. Because, again, with As Your Dreams, I traded some game for it in elementary school, and I fell in love at first sight. So, and then I picked up Splatoon the other day.
Oh, Splatoon. How are you liking that?
It's good. I think it's the kind of game where I'm going to maybe want to play it for an hour every week or so. Like, it doesn't seem like a game that's really good to sit down and just play for hours on end. Which, it's an arena shooter. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's really fun, though. Like, the rounds are the perfect length. It's just 3 minutes, so if you're starting to get your shit kicked in, it's not long enough for you to dwell on it and feel bad about it. And, I don't know. Like, it feels like just enough time that you can fill the map with ink and then start struggling a bit for about a minute. So, it's a real tight package. I really like that. That's lewd, and I hope nobody takes that sound clip out of context. The amiibo shit seems to be peripheral to the game. Like, just, challenge missions and stuff I don't usually play in games where they're present anyway. It's kind of a bummer because the only one of the 3 amiibos that I thought looked kind of cool is the squid, but that one's only available in the 3-pack. I also want to talk about the price problem here. Okay, so most Nintendo games here are $50-$60. I think it's like $40-$50 down there, I have to assume.
Yeah.
Splatoon is a $70 game.
What?
For me. I think it's $60 for you guys. Which means it's $10 more than any other Wii U game I've ever bought.
Jesus.
And then to top it all off, that 3-pack of the amiibos, if you're blessed enough to even find one, is $40. Making that $110 to get everything out the gate. And that's if you're lucky enough to find the amiibo, because, surprise, surprise, there's not enough of the fucking things. Because there's never enough amiibos.
No. Oh, well, that just seems ridiculous to me.
And, awful fan base aside, the game is fun. And that's ultimately why I decided to pick it up, despite my complaints last time we recorded. Because, everything's got a shitty fan base if you look hard enough.
It's true.
I don't really want to deprive myself of a game I think I would enjoy, just because some people are fucking squirrely about it. So.
I mean, as long as you're having fun playing it, it's all good.
Yeah, no, it's good. I've got this this gun. It looks like the NES Zapper, and it's.
Oh my gosh.
The way I've spec'd my clothes out is I've got just like shitloads of extra power and extra ammo. So the gun is designed to cover as much area as possible, which is important because I think a bunch of people play it like an arena shooter where they care more about kills rather than covering the arena with ink, which is the win condition. So this is a good gun because I can work on covering shit, but then also it's rapid fire enough, and with my damage boosts, I can just fucking murk fools real quick if they get in my shit. So I'm really liking that, the way that works. I haven't really experimented with the sniper rifle or the roller that much. I don't care for sniper rifles in most games, so I think I'll just stick to my machine gun thing. Plus, I really like just running around with a zapper.
I'm glad to hear it's fun, though.
Yeah, so, like, if you own a Wii U, and, I mean, the problem is I doubt the game's ever going to go down in price, but, I don't know. So far, it seems like it's probably worth it, but I haven't put enough time in to know for sure.
So a lot of people playing it, like, online? Does it have, like...
Yeah, like, I've never had to wait more than a minute for a match.
That's good. Well, like I wonder how that's going to hold up, though, over the next 6 months.
Hard to say. At the very least, like, a week out, it was still real easy to get matches. I mean, it's not like there's a lot of options for other online shit for Wii U.
Yeah,
like, Smash Brothers Online is just unstable as fuck to the point that it's not worth it. Even just between, like, you and one friend. Like, it'll drop frames to the point where it's like 1 frame per 5 seconds sometimes. So that's not acceptable. Mario Kart's fun. I have to wonder if the DLC packs have splintered the fan base at all. Like, I haven't played online since it came out because I don't care. I think Splatoon's pretty unique on the platform that it'll have the player base. Like, anybody who's got a Wii U, pretty much, playing Splatoon.
Nice.
So, yeah. We'll see how that goes. If it's still popular by the time you get a Wii U, you might want to consider picking it up. I'll probably keep an eye on it.
We'll see.
Yeah? You're not sure about that?
Well, I mean...
Fan base is too much?
No, that's not it. It's mostly picking up a Wii U. Since I'm moving in the fall, I don't know how that's gonna work.
Fair enough.
I would love to have one right now, but...
I mean, I'm looking at my shelf, and there's a lot of good shit for the Wii U, but I've also got real Nintendo tastes, so most of the shit they put out is for me. Although I will say I'm happy I didn't pick up Mario Party, because I haven't heard any lasting effect of that, which makes me think it was just another shitty entry. So that's good, at least. Save money that way.
Yeah.
Alright, let's move on to news. It's been pretty...
Fallout 4!
Yeah. Alright, I'll let you cover that, because I haven't even watched it, because I don't care that much, but you're real into Fallout, aren't you?
Yeah.
So tell me about this trailer.
There's color. Finally.
And you're happy about that?
Yeah.
It's a wasteland, Mel.
Not all of it. Sometimes it's a wasteland, but they're in Boston. It's not necessarily a wasteland.
How do you know Boston didn't get wasted? Seems like it'd be a pretty high priority target for nukes.
Don't know how long after the fact that it's taking place.
I know, I'm just being a shithead. I've heard people complaining about color, and I've been hearing people praising it for color, so...
Well, I mean, disregarding the original Fallout games, I'm just talking about the Bethesda versions. Like
that's dangerous.
Well, just for color.
Okay.
For 3 in New Vegas, I mean...
3 was just entirely gray, from what I remember.
Well, it was like a brown-green color.
Okay.
You know?
I remember 3 looking real drab and uninteresting.
Yeah, I mean, because it was a wasteland.
Yeah.
And, that worked, and New Vegas had a little bit more to it, but not much. And that was okay, because the settings, it worked, for where they were at, But it's nice to see them kind of moving towards something a little bit more, dynamic.
So where's the color? What are you talking about, like forests? Because again, I haven't even seen the trailer.
Everything just feels a little bit more saturated, It's not like, it doesn't have like this, fucking Instagram filter on it, trying to make it look old and worn down. It just looks like true color, basically. You know what I mean?
Sort of. I mean, I can see why people are upset, given that it should be a wasteland, but I don't know. I don't know enough about the older Fallout games either. Like, those didn't seem too colorful either from the screenshots I've seen. Fallout 1 and 2.
No, they weren't.
How do you feel about... I've heard that there's rumblings about you have a preset protagonist and it's going to be more story-focused.
I don't know.
Have you heard any about that?
I've heard lots of complaining, but no, like...
You haven't heard any official stuff?
I'll wait till E3 when they actually say, this
Fair
is
enough.
what it is, and this is what we're doing before I make any, judgments on that, because I don't know yet.
So hypothetically, though, let's say you are just locked to a standard protagonist because they want to make it more story-focused, like the protagonist would be voice-acted and what have you. Do you feel like that would benefit the game or damage the game, given the nature of Fallout?
I think having your excuse me, your character voice acted would not be a good thing.
Just the voice acting bugs you?
Yeah. Oh, well, because I mean, in New Vegas, you kind of had a sort of a preset character, in a way. Like you had your origins as that character as far as the game was concerned, and then you had an ending, and you
You
kind of
had
had the same
amnesia,
thing.
though.
Yeah, but you had the same thing with Fallout 3. It was like, okay, you're this person born to these people, this stuff happened, now you're gonna end it this way. I mean, there was like a story there, and there always has been, but it's everything else that was open to you. And the game's still gonna be open world, and but
More importantly, it's like as long as you have freedom of specking your character,
yeah,
was the
I
biggest part
I,
for
I
me.
don't think they're gonna make it. I don't want to say because I don't really know what they're gonna do, but I wouldn't assume that they would kind of change up the um formula that much. They might make it. I don't know. We'll see.
Like, I doubt they would take away the freedom to spec your character. That's
I don't think they're gonna do it.
beyond that. I don't really care because I mean, who's overly attached to their create a character anyway? By default, they always have to look shittier than a character that's just designed.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about my creative character.
Like, I put a hat on him and then I forget about it. Who the fuck cares? So, although most of the things I've been hearing is just like feminists bitching about, like, oh, you only get a male protagonist. That affects the fucking gameplay.
What do you mean you only get a? Did they say that you only get a male, or?
This is all just rumors. I don't think anything's been confirmed.
God.
But you know how people like to bitch and moan about non-issues.
It's too much to think that they played the other two because they don't really play games anyway.
Shit, maybe they think like New Vegas is just the first one, and it's like I don't even know where the other three were.
You can play a chick in that one. You get the literally the first thing you do is pick your gender.
But where's my gender slider, Mel? Dark Souls has a gender slider. Most progressive game of our generation. So you excited for Fallout 4?
Yeah, I'm also kind of shocked that it's supposed to come out this year.
I wouldn't hold your breath for that. Although it's been, what's the last thing they put out? Skyrim, right?
Skyrim was many years ago.
Yeah, so
what year was Skyrim?
I guess it's feasible that it could come out this year.
Maybe 4 years.
You got plenty of time to build that fucking game. Let's hope it's not full to the tits with bugs again. But I'm not, again, gonna hold my breath. Yeah. As long as it's cool bugs like Backwards Dragon. As opposed to game-breaking bugs like that shit with the PS3.
I mean, for games as big as these are, like, I would never hold my breath for, like, no bugs. Like,
I'm talking about, like, fatal bugs. Like, do you recall the PS3 bug with Skyrim?
No, because I didn't play it on the PS3.
Fair enough. I didn't either, but the way it worked was, like, the longer you played the game, the more unstable your save got.
Oh, wow.
So, it would just get progressively more fucked the more you played the game.
Mode, never turn it off.
Not even that. It's, like, just time logged in the world. Like, the longer that world exists, even between play sessions, just accumulated, it would just get more and more unstable until it's like you turn it on and it just fucking crash immediately.
Wow.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, Fallout 4, that gives you something to look forward to, right?
I know it's gonna come out just in time for finals. I know it. It's gonna be like the week of finals, and I'm gonna hate my life.
I'm sure you can wait a whole week. I mean, it took you a while to even get to Witcher 3, and that timed out perfectly. So.
Yeah, but this is Fallout 4. This is like.
Is that more important to you?
400 or 500-hour game for me right here.
Yeah, you really spent your time with the other two, didn't you?
Oh, lots of time.
Now, did you play 1 and 2?
Yes.
And did you enjoy those?
Yes, I did. They're very different, but I've always liked the Fallout series.
They're on my wish list. I'll get around to them eventually.
They're pretty cheap now. I think on GOG they're like...
Yeah, that's something else too. I'm going to take a bit of a tangent here. I got to start looking at GOG instead of just Steam. Because the prices seem to be a lot better, and there's no reason to buy into DRM if I don't have to.
Exactly.
It's not like I care about achievements or anything.
Yeah, not.
It's like, side note on GOG, I picked up, it was this 3-pack. It was Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 Enhanced Edition plus Icewind Dale for It was $25 for all 3 of those.
Yeah,
and then I picked up Witcher 2 for $3. Just can't beat that.
Nope.
That's a good deal. Although apparently they were giving away Witcher 2 for free last holiday, so I just got to keep a closer look on GOG, I guess.
Yeah, well, this is their.
I can feel good about supporting a company like GOG, especially when they've got that policy on no DRM.
Well, it's owned and run by CD Projekt.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's part of the like CD Projekt group or whatever. So.
Oh, CD Projekt Red is part of CD Projekt then?
Mhm.
Okay, I thought you meant like that little Slav team owned GOG. I'm like, how the fuck did that happen? What happened? But is CD Projekt like a big company?
Not. I mean, sort of.
Anyway, this is all just a tangent.
Yeah.
Have you heard about Blizzard announcing $10 skins for heroes in Hearthstone?
Yeah, I'm not.
Have
really
you heard
surprised.
it's fucking stupid? And that it changes absolutely nothing but cosmetic shit.
Yeah.
Like I saw a GIF and it's like, instead of Garrosh as your warrior, you've got some dwarf who's probably plot significant, but I never read the fucking books or anything. And when you press the armor up, you get this big flashy hammer that smacks instead of just, the normal thing. So
That's
it seems
worth
like
$10.
more bling bullshit, like the Sparkle Pony from World of Warcraft.
I mean, at the very least, at least it doesn't affect gameplay, but.
Yeah, I think I would have been a lot more pissed off if they were like exclusive new heroes with like different powers and stuff.
Yeah,
So,
but they're not.
At least it's just cosmetic. So now all I know is immediately less respect for anybody I see with one of those fucking skins on.
Yeah.
That's always how I judged it.
That's a lot of money, especially for like.
For a JPEG and a little animation.
Yeah, well, particularly
like
for
a fucking. I guess there's voice acting involved too, but still, like, fuck off.
Heroes of the Storm, like, there's a lot there. Like, that's a lot of $10 buys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, have you been playing that? I don't remember.
Mm-mm.
Because I don't like Dota type shit, so.
I don't have the time for it. I'm not gonna play it and be bad, so, and I don't have the time to get good, so.
Yeah, I don't know, like, there's so many games out there, outside of Pokemon, I don't really feel a need to, dedicate myself to a game on a level where I have to spend hours just practicing shit.
Exactly.
And even with Pokemon, like, that's just because breeding is a really good way to pass the time on the bus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. We've got Uncharted HD remake bullshit. Yeah, let's up-res some more PS3 games, 360 games. I don't think there's been enough of those. I think we need a lot more.
All that has been out, honestly, for the PS4 or the Xbox.
And you know what's really funny is there's fewer features for these remakes. They've taken out the multiplayer in 2 and 3. Which, I don't fucking care, but you're offering an inferior product now. Like a slightly up-resed and you took features out. Good job. Who the fuck cares?
Yeah, I don't.
But there's a beta for Uncharted 4, so you better go pick that up because you give a fuck about betas for Uncharted 4 multiplayer. Yeah. In slightly less depressing news, I saw an article about the first inductees in the game Hall of Fame. I have to imagine that's at some sort of prestigious museum of some sort. And there's 6 games here that they put in for the first wave. You got Doom, obviously. Doom's some good shit. Pong, again. These are all pretty obvious choices, except for the 6th one. Pac-Man, Super Mario Bros., Tetris, and you got World of Warcraft. Which I have to imagine is just in there for the sheer numbers they achieved in their peak.
Probably. I think they also kind of changed the whole... MMOs were I mean, they were new, but not when it came out. I mean, because you'd had, EverQuest and Ultima
Ultima
Online.
Online, yeah.
Yeah, but
And it seems like it was pretty derivative of those. It just maybe refined things a bit more.
it just did what they did better, basically.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I'm not going to say WoW wasn't a good game in its height. I'm just saying it's fallen a long way from there.
yeah.
So, I mean, it's worth noting that they use the box art from Vanilla WoW.
Yep.
Because it hasn't been as good since Burning Crusade, I'm going to say.
It's like Wrath, at the very least. That's when everybody left into Wrath.
End of Wrath? Because I left mid-Wrath because I just didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, I think it was good through
Like, Wrath's where you started recycling raids, like Nax.
Yeah, but nobody saw Nax anyway, so that wasn't that big of a deal.
I know, but I'm just saying it's a bad precedent.
Yeah, that was okay to do with that one, because
that one made sense because who the fuck
it.
got into that? That was I remember people talking about Nax like this unattainable thing, even in Burning Crusade.
But yeah, it's like I said, I finally unsubbed and uninstalled.
Like if you think of the first wave of raids in Wrath, you have Nax, which is an old raid, which is new to most people. Yeah, I'll give you that. You've got whatever that black dragon was, the one in that lava room, which was just a room.
Sanctum. Yeah.
Which that's a shitty raid. And then you had that one tied to the PvP zone, and I think that's it for a couple months.
Eye of Eternity too.
What's Eye? Oh, is that the dragons? The blue dragons?
Yeah.
See, I never saw that one. Was that at launch?
Yep.
Oh, but that was just again one boss fight, wasn't
it? Yeah, they were just.
It was just a circular room.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, then I did see that one. So that's pretty piss poor for raids as compared to. I want to say when Burning Crusade launched, you had Kara, where people cut their teeth, and didn't you have wasn't Vash and like all that tier 4 shit in the game already? Like was tier 4 and 5 already in the game when it came out? And then what they added later was Black Temple, right?
Well, you had Karazhan, which the vast majority of people never really got past Kara.
Yeah. But I'm saying the other stuff was in the game. It's just nobody was able to get into it because good progression.
You had, like, Serpent Shrine and...
Serpent Shrine's where Vash was, right?
Yeah, then you had Tempest Keep.
Yeah. So that's all the tier 5 content.
But then you had, Hydril. And then you had Black Hydril.
Hydril was there at launch?
No.
Okay.
That was later.
That's tier 6 content. So.
Black Temple, and then they added Sunwell at the very end.
Yeah. People remember Sunwell fondly, too. Like, wasn't that balls hard?
Yes.
Like, not as bad as Nax, maybe, but, that's a fitting end to an expansion pack, right?
I think it would be harder than Nax was.
Harder than Nax?
I think mechanically it was. I mean, mechanically nothing was very hard in Nax.
I remember running through, what was it? What was that one we were just saying?
Sunwell?
Sunwell. I remember running through that with, like, 2 other people at level 80, so mechanically it wouldn't have been super hard, but... Although, that's, like, I was level 90, so maybe just the level negates mechanics we should have been doing.
Yeah, you ignore mechanics completely at that point.
Well, either way, though, like, that's a good lot of content. Like, it comes with the box. You've got Gruuls, you've got Kara, you've got... what was that name of that fat-ass demon?
Mechtherodon.
Him. And then you got all that tier 5 content that nobody saw for, like, a year. Because that's just how hard the shit was.
Yeah, but in Wrath, though, I mean, it started up, but they released Ulduar pretty quick. Ulduar was undoubtedly the best raid.
I mean, I quit Wrath before Uld came out.
That's too bad. That was the best. Hands down.
That was a bunch of drama, though. That's why I left.
But yeah, the game is not what it used to be.
Yeah, I guess that's the overall point we're getting at. And that's all I got for news. It's been pretty light. Although not as light as last time.
Yeah,
so.
Wasn't it?
I think I'm going to double down on the topic of the week and just get some old shit out of the way, because these are small topics that can't really carry a discussion on their own. I have written down here vaping, which has nothing to do with video games. I guess I just wanted to say, hey, guess what? Vapors are fucking losers. Unless they're actually using it to quit smoking. Yeah, soapbox. And then I had Pokemon Forced Buddy Bullshit. Now, have you played a modern Pokemon game?
I have Pokemon X, but...
And did you get super deep in there?
Not really.
Well, you probably got deep enough to know that instead of a character like Gary Oak, who's a badass motherfucker, you've got like 4 fucking plebs you don't care about that are like shoved right in your face immediately.
Yep.
And they never fucking leave you alone.
It was pretty annoying.
And I just want to talk about why this is bad, not only from like just an annoying standpoint, but like mechanically. Okay, so like Gary was a perfect rival because he was your fucking rival. You know, you'd show up and he'd be like, hey, you're a scrub shit, I'm gonna try to kick your ass, and then you'd like, if you weren't prepared for it, he would actually kick your ass, and he'd be a kind of a roadblock in some places, and he'd show up at inopportune moments, like you just finished going through Mount Moon and you're just walking around Cerulean, and it's like, hey motherfucker, you probably didn't hit the Pokemon Center yet, so time to kick your ass in. He was a good rival. He kept you on your toes, and he was always a reasonable challenge if you were a kid, from what I remember.
Yeah.
And then you've got just this. It's like, hey, we're all just buddies. It's like, we're just supposed to assume you care about these fucking characters. And it's not even pals for life. Like, in X and Y, you just moved there, and it was like, hey, man, you're just part of our group now. We're going to be friends from now on. It's like, where's my say in this? You guys are fucking losers. You're running around with the equivalent of a Rattata for the whole fucking game. Like, get out of my face. You think you can associate with me. And then even, like, the one who's your rival, she just gets kind of butthurt when you beat her. And, she never, like, gets good enough to be a challenge, which, I don't know, maybe it's a challenge to a kid who's not played a shitload of Pokemon. I can't actually tell. But it never feels challenging like your rivals in the first 2 generations did. Plus, okay, here's the bigger problem mechanically, is instead of exploring this open world like you did in the first couple Pokemon games, these fuckers are like constantly on your ass, just like, oh man, we should go this way because story. And it's like, I'd rather just walk around and catch some Pokemon. No, you're gonna fucking follow me around and talk to me? That's great. It's like working with people that won't shut the fuck up, right? Who just, like, they think you want to talk to them, and you're making every visible cue that you want them to just shut the fuck up and go away, but they just keep talking to you anyway. That's how it feels to play these modern Pokemon games. Which I don't, like, I have to imagine even as a kid it's fucking annoying, but maybe not. Maybe kids don't think about it as much as I do. That's actually pretty likely. Do you have any thoughts on everything I've just been rambling about?
I don't know. I have a really hard time getting into Pokemon these days. I don't know if it's because the games have changed so drastically or I've just gotten so much older.
I will say this. They're not at all mechanically deep. Like they've added more elements over time, but...
Maybe that's why, because I feel like I can just kind of brute force.
Yeah. Like, guess what? Oh, this is a fire gym. Well, fuck, get a water type, and it's, you're done. Oh shit, the Elite Four isn't even complicated anymore. Like, some are just mono type. So it's like, okay, I have one really strong fire type. Guess what? The steel guy is completely negated. Like, it doesn't... Again, I can't tell if the games are getting easier or if it's just I've spent way too much time playing fucking Pokemon because I've been playing it since I was 10 years old.
Let's just say both.
It might be a bit of both. Because, I will say, like, just playing Blue a couple years ago, it was like, you can just blaze through that Elite Four like nothing, because you've got mono-type Elite Fours. So, use your Fire type on the Ice Chick, use a Psychic type on Bruno, use Psychic type on... Man, Psychic was busted in Gen 1.
Oh my god, it destroyed everything.
Because it had no weaknesses.
Just get my Alakazam and destroy.
Because here's the problem. Ghost was supposed to be Psychic's weakness, but there's 2 problems with that. The only Ghost type, they double-typed with Poison, which made it weak to Psychic.
Yep.
And there were no Ghost moves that actually worked, like, on a scale. You only had Nightshade. which was just seismic toss. So it's like, what are you doing? Gengar, please. You're supposed to be the anti-Alakazam, and he fucking kills you. The same with bug type. That was supposed to counter a couple. That was also supposed to counter psychic, but there's only one bug type move in the game. It's fucking Twin Needle, and that sucks shit. It's got like the lowest base attack next to Lick, which is a ghost type move. So I don't know. For as much as I like Red and Blue, those games are fucked up mechanically.
Yeah.
Did you know Blizzard has a 90% accuracy in Red and Blue?
Really?
As opposed to like fucking 70 in every other game. But Fire Blast and Thunder still have 70%. It's just Blizzard's fucked up and it hits 90% of the time.
My God.
Which is why you remember Blizzard as this terrifying thing, because it's the most powerful attack in the game, basically. It's like an Ice Beam, but stronger as far as accuracy is concerned. Man, now I want to play Pokemon Blue, so... moral of the story is get these fake-ass rivals out of my face. Who the fuck cares? Like, Gary was the perfect rival. He just kind of shows up and he's a dickhead, and he's like, alright, here's a tidbit to help you along the way. Peace. It's not like he was actively trying to help you either. He's just, like, gloating about something he did. But it's like, oh, that gives me an idea to go explore that myself. You know? Like, I feel a big part of Pokemon's appeal for me when I was a kid was the exploration. Yeah, and if you've got this, like, pack of retards following you around, telling you where to go, where's the exploration? Like, I remember you went to a city, right, mid-game, and there were 3 ways out of the city. One way it said it was closed for construction. One way was the way my stupid friend said to go. And north, I tried to go there, and it was the most retarded roadblock in a game I've ever seen. It was something like a group of clowns are dancing and blocking the way. Like, I'm not exaggerating. And I'm just like, are you fucking serious? Really, you're just gonna make me follow this stupid asshole instead of let me explore this world? Like in Pokemon Blue, you don't even have to do the gyms in a particular order. Like, you can do 3 of them out of order. Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
I mean, I wish things were less linear than they are now.
Yeah. And people give me shit all the time. It's like, oh, you're just a fucking nostalgia fag, Gen 1er. I'm like, I acknowledge the problems with those games. But if you're talking just from a design standpoint, it is a much better game than any of these new games have been. Like, you want to talk mechanics or whatever, yeah, they've refined that over time. They've made the moves more balanced and everything have, like, counters that are effective. But if you're just talking about building a world and making that world interesting to explore, there's not a better game than, I'm going to say, Pokemon Silver. Pokemon Gold and Silver. Because, do you remember the first time you beat the Elite Four in that, and then you realized, like, holy shit, they're sending me to Kanto. There's 8 more fucking gyms.
Yep.
And I mean, it was balanced for shit. Like, nothing was challenging there because it was all really fucked up and weird. But you still got to explore the whole last game in this little Game Boy cartridge. Like, that blew my mind as a kid. That's amazing. Because it's like 10 years after the events of Red and Blue, so, like, people still talk about Team Rocket, and you're fighting, like, mostly the same trainers, the gym leaders, but, like, some people have been replaced. Because, like, Koga's in the Elite. It's just awesome. And I don't get that sense from Pokemon anymore, because it's just, like, it feels like they're playing it way too safe, because they've got kind of an evergreen product that really appeals to kids. Mm-hmm. So I don't necessarily fault them. It's just kind of a bummer when I remember what Pokemon meant to me growing up.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a huge part of my childhood, and now it's like, I just don't care anymore. But that's just me.
I guess
I don't know. I played them, and it just feels so boring to me.
Yeah, and I think the only reason I even keep playing the new ones is just, like, it's purely fueled on nostalgia at this point. Like, I don't even use the new Pokemon. I don't care. I don't care about legendaries. I don't care about... Most of the new Pokemon are designed like shit. Like, the first thing I do when I play a new Pokemon game is I'm like, okay, where's the first place I can get a Gen 1 Pokemon so I can ditch my starter? I went so far as to ditch my starter in Pokemon Black 2 for a fucking Psyduck, which I would never use under any normal circumstance, but that was the first Gen 1 Pokemon I could get. So I'm like, alright, fuck this pig thing. I'm gonna use this Psyduck for a while. So I don't know. Pokemon's cool. Well, at least it used to be. Let's play Pokemon Stadium instead. I'll just scratch all the itches. Sandshrew minigames. Alright. You feel we covered that Pokemon Forest Buddy bullshit? I feel like there was something else that pissed me off about it, but oh, I will say this. There's this unnecessary need to make the story epic and grand and whatever. Like,
yeah, like
the stakes is like, oh, the world's in jeopardy. Like, you know, again, Red and Blue is just like, hey, there's a bunch of thugs. They took over a building. Let's go beat the shit out of them a bit, and hey, we liberated that building. Like, you're just taking buildings back. Those were the stakes.
Yep.
Instead of like, we're gonna crash a meteor into the planet, it's like, oh, okay. Can I just go fight some rocket thugs? Because the guy's trying to get a Master Ball.
I just want to be a badass little kid and go fuck shit up.
Yeah, like, Pokemon Red and Blue is believable, sort of. It's like, oh, you're really good at raising Pokemon, and you managed to beat all these thugs. As opposed to like, oh, you saved the whole fucking planet, and also...
Good job.
Like, it's after you save the planet, it's like, okay, now go beat the Elite Four, and even the Elite Four are just like, who fucking cares? You saved the world. You know, like, the Elite Four isn't hyped up at all, because it's like, you've already done the plot important shit, so it's just like, I don't know, do this as a technicality so you can be the champion, whatever. Like, it's also fucked up that, this ties into the Forced Buddy bullshit. The champions of the games, I want to say since Gen 4, have started, like, directly interfering with plot stuff. So then it's like, you're hanging out with the champion, and he's going to help you beat Team Galactic, or whatever the fuck. So then by the time you fight the champion, it's like, oh, I know this guy, I've just been hanging out with him, and he's a fucking loser. Like, again, when you got to, like, Lance, and you thought that was the end, and it's just like, oh, by the way, guess what? Gary already did it. And you're just like, motherfucking Gary. So then you go fight Gary, and it's like, it felt to me like Elite Four should have been the end, but then it's like, technically you would have been the champion, but he already did it, so he's the current champion, so you fight him. But then they kind of ran with this concept where it's like, oh, there's always a champion, so it's Elite Four plus champion. It's like, no, like, I felt like in Red and Blue, those were unique circumstances where these two fucking upstart kids just kicked the Elite Four's asses, like, right after each other. So it's like, I don't know, you two figure it out between you who's the champion. And then, you know, it was kind of cool, like, Lance would run around with you in silver and gold to fuck up Team Rocket or whatever, but, you know, that mattered because you knew who Lance was from the last game. He wasn't just some random asshole who's like, I'm the champion, I'm gonna help you. It's like, okay, guy with red hair I've talked to once. Like, I don't know, it's just... Yeah, it turns out Pokemon's not written very well, no.
Not much of a plot there.
Which is weird because, like, I guess it just goes to show, like, less is more. Like, the Elite Four doesn't have any characterization in Red and Blue, and that's probably why they're so ominous and, like, mysterious until you go and fight them. And it's just like, wow, these guys have Pokemon, they're like 20 levels higher than anything else you've encountered in the game. Like, I don't know. I think I'm just rambling at this point, but Gen 1's the best. Go fuck yourself, kids. I challenge anybody listening to fucking take me up on this.
Tell those kids.
Fuck kids. But don't actually fuck kids. What's coming soon? I found one game that was even worth mentioning, and that's only because it's kind of absurd. Lego Jurassic World is coming out on June 12th.
I always enjoy the Lego games.
Do you? Still?
They're not really deep, but they're kind of fun.
They seem like they'd be okay if you paid $20 for them and they were a franchise you cared a lot about.
Well, I mean, even if I don't give a shit about the franchise, like, if I could get them for, like, I think they would be good, like, $15, $20 games, like you said.
Yeah,
like,
they should probably just come out at $20.
Yeah, because then they're like, you know, 10-hour games or whatever. They're kind of fun, a little bit of puzzles, you know, it's really, you know, decent, solid platforming.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I had a bit of fun with the Marvel one, but then I just gave it to my brother because
$60 on that shit. No.
Yeah, that's not a good price for that.
No.
What I also found weird about Lego Jurassic World coming out is Lego's working on their own Skylanders type shit. Like, it's got all kinds of franchises in it, like Lord of the Rings and Back to the Future and fucking Batman or whatever. Like, and you're gonna buy these little figures and put them on a thing like all the other Skylander shit.
Is this the thing now? Is this what everybody's gonna do? Is
Yeah.
this the new motion control? This is the new motion control.
You know how in Lego Batman there's like 50 fucking characters that you can unlock? It's kind of like that, but you can buy all the characters as these toys that are going to be hard to find because people are fucking weird. Isn't that way better, Mel? But the game's still the same price. Don't kid yourself.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
Nope. So I think that's kind of weird how that's like a standalone Lego game. They're gonna keep making Lego games with all the content, but then also this like amiibo shit where they're gonna charge for characters plus the game. I don't know what they're doing there. They're not making that amiibo shit very engaging. Oh, like Doctor Who, I think, was another franchise mentioned there in the that mishmash of shit. Ghostbusters, like just shoving everything they've got in there.
But who gives a shit, honestly?
Don't you want to buy a Doctor Who amiibo? Lego amiibo? Lego. It's like Lego, but you put it on the video game, and it's expensive like Lego, but it's also expensive like video games. It's the best of both worlds. Because Lego's fucking expensive.
Lego's really fucking expensive.
I don't fault any parents who bought their kids Mega Bloks. Like, as a kid, I couldn't tell the fucking difference. Although my parents did buy me Legos. I was a spoiled little bastard. Alrighty. Have you heard, is there anything else on the horizon for you in the next 2 weeks? Nah, because, like, there's literally nothing coming out the week of E3 that I could find.
Nope.
Like, that Lego game is the last thing I saw, and then it's just empty. Everyone's just like, fuck it, we're not releasing during E3. Are you insane? So, that's it for now. I got a couple questions here. Let me check Twitter real quick. Nope, nobody took the bait. So, I've got questions from yesterday. Lambrizzle asks, why do you think the addition of more color in Fallout 4 is not sitting well with some people? I mean, we already covered a bit of this Fallout 4 stuff, so, I mean, if you don't have any extra insight into this, we can move on from some of these questions.
No, I just don't understand why you would be so emotionally attached to a color palette.
I think it's more the idea of a wasteland should look desiccated and depressing. That's kind of the point of post-apocalypse.
Yeah, but the sky's still going to be blue.
It shouldn't be. Should be all gray and fucked up because of nuke clouds. You know? I don't know. I don't know enough about what actually happens with nukes. But I understand why people are upset, but there's more important shit to be upset about, in my opinion. If the rumors of the only male protagonist are true, how do you think it'll pan out? Well, feminists will bitch and not buy the game that they weren't going to buy anyway. But it'll make Anita Sarkeesian lots of money when she makes a video about it. That's how I think it'll pan out.
Pretty much.
I mean, I usually play as a female character in creative character games because they usually look better. Like the pre-built hair and all that, and the faces. Like that's what I ended up doing in Demon Souls and Bloodborne. Because the dudes just kind of look dorky, so I'm like, I'll just make a cute girl then, who cares? But it doesn't break my heart. It was like, okay, you've got a character in mind, like, have at her.
Who gives a shit?
I don't look at the character. It's not an MMO.
Nope.
Do you think it could lead to better storytelling or hurt them? It could lead to better storytelling. I mean, I had more fun exploring in Fallout than.
Well, I think that's what it's mostly about. I mean, silent protagonist. You can have amazing storytelling without having your protagonist speak.
I do like silent protagonists.
I prefer them.
Yeah. Like, I'm trying to think of a good example where... Alright, Sonic. Sonic went to shit as soon as he started fucking talking. Solid. Like, that's the best example I could ever come up with. You got Sonic talking? It's like, oh man, you are just not a good game already. Good job. That's a good rule of thumb. Does Sonic talk? Okay, don't buy the fucking game. Easy peasy. Not to say Sonic is a titan of storytelling in video games, mind you.
No.
Pringle asks, did you play Age of Conan? I did not.
Nope.
No? You don't play the Flavor of the Week MMOs at all?
No.
Okay. I can't say I blame you. Everything's a WoW killer. Wasn't Age of Conan one of the first WoW killers that lasted like a week?
I think Age of Conan, that was like, what, back in... What,
like I was in high school.
2008 or whatever?
Yeah. So,
people
were really hype about it. They talked about it for a week, and then I never heard another word about it. Because they all went back to playing WoW. Weird.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we have more Conan games? I don't know. I've been reading those Conan stories and watching those movies. I could really go for a good Conan game. The problem is I don't know how that would even happen. Just make a brawler. Yeah, that would be good. Modern brawler. Like Devil May Cry, but good.
Careful now.
No, I'm talking about the shitty DMC Devil May Cry Fuck You edition.
Super edgy emo. Yeah.
Whoa, we let you dye your hair white. Will you forgive us now for shitting all over the fans? It's like, no, because it turns out the game's still shitty, but thanks for trying. Why can't we call and harass you? I don't know, like, how do you even call into a conversation on Skype? I don't think it works that way. Harass me all you like when you're a guest, Pringle. I don't think he's even on the guest list. Man, get fucked, Pringle. You're not even on the guest list. There's 7 people ahead of you if you want to call in and harass. Angry Tiki asks, would you rather stab Muffin in the leg or whip Lamb 3 times? Now, this question is just for me. Inside jokes are really fun for everybody. I'd probably whip Lamb 3 times. Caius Casades asks, games you had a hard time with, but now smoke them. Mega Man Zero, the first Mega Man Zero, was a really hard game when it first came out for me. Like, I had to practice all the levels and all the bosses. I'm gonna say like 10 times, because that game doesn't fuck around. How about you, Mel?
I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's like it's hard to come up with something off the top of your head, right? I'm
thinking about games that I struggled with.
Oh, are you just too pro? You never had trouble with a game?
Well, I mean, I think about games that were like felt impossible to do.
I'm gonna also say Mega Man X6 was a huge kick in the dick, but that's more because it was designed really badly. But now I'm just like, I've compensated for how badly it's designed to the point where I'm super good at it. So I guess that sort of counts too. Although I will say, do you have any ideas for games you struggled with and got better at?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
I can come back to it if you want. The second question here is related somewhat. Games you still have a hard time with. Right off the bat, I'm going to talk about Mega Man and Bass. Mega Man and Bass. Rockman and Forte. That is a hard fucking game, made only harder by the fact that the GBA port, you lose, like, I'm going to say a quarter of the screen. So, like, that is a game I still haven't been able to beat. Because those king levels, like, even on the Super Nintendo where you could see everything, Rockman and Forte was a notoriously difficult game. So, I have to question sometimes if I'm ever going to beat that one. Because it is an unforgiving game. I might have to use an emulator and just create hard saves between the final 4 levels because they're so demanding. And the way the saves work is really fucked up too. Like, I continued on the second king stage, and then I turned it off, like, with a save there, but then it kicks you right back out to the first one, that makes sense for classic Mega Man games and whatever, where they were like, there's E-tanks and all that. Like, there's ways to get through that. But there's no healing items in Rockman and Forte.
Oh boy.
So you've got like 3 lives, and it's like every time you get a game over, you got to start the level again, and it's like I'm gonna just have to devote a day to grinding through that or something sometime.
I still don't think that I could beat Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Yeah, that's another one too.
I don't think I could do that.
Even if the two of us co-opt it somehow, I don't think we could beat it. Because like,
I
you've
mean,
got to have two people there, and they've both
you
got to be
have
on
to.
their fucking A game, because that is an unforgiving game.
Getting up around level 20 plus, it starts to get really fucking hard.
Plus, you got to start from like the beginning, so you can stockpile a bunch of items. I think. Because there's passwords for near the end of the game, but like, then it throws you into levels with werewolves, and you got like a water gun with 100 ammo. It's like, okay, I can't even kill the fucking werewolf with this.
Nope.
So that's another game that's probably going to stay on my shelf, popped out, because I'll never beat that fucking thing by myself. And I need someone who's just as good at the game as me, and we'd have to practice for hours and hours and hours. So yeah, did you think of a game you used to have trouble with and now you're super good at?
Probably any of the like, like Super Mario Brothers 3 or Mega Man X or Mega Man 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 7. Any of those, I could probably practically play with my eyes closed.
See, everyone says like the Mega Man X games were really hard, and I guess I just never felt that way because like I grew up playing them a lot, and then by the time
Yeah, but I mean originally as a kid, like they were difficult.
Yeah, they were hard. Like every boss was an accomplishment.
I had to play them for years now.
Man, I wish I could have a feeling like that with Mega Man games. Where instead of just like, oh, it took me more than one try to beat this boss, what the fuck's wrong with me? It's like, every single time you got through a level and beat a boss, you wrote down that password with enthusiasm. Just like, yeah, fucker, I got you, Launch Octopus. Spark Mandrill, that was a big hurdle for me when I was a kid. Because he punches real fucking hard. So I was really impressed with myself when I beat him. And then Captain Ersatz, who's Caius' brother, he built on his questions. He says, games you have literally smoked. I don't smoke video games. Did you grind up the discs into a powder and smoke a blunt? It seems like you die really fast.
Probably.
There's metal in there, yo. Games that get you hard. I don't play hentai games. So
you don't play the Japanese dating sims?
I don't. I was considering buying Hateful Boyfriend just so I could play that with my girlfriend and she could laugh at all the birds and stuff. But I'm not going to spend more than $5 on a joke. You know? That's my rule for joke games. I'm not going to spend more than $5 on them. Let's see here. We could do a quick video game showcase if you like. Do you have anything you wanted to talk about?
Not this time, I don't. I'm good.
Okay, then I am going to cover Medieval, which we should have done like 2 episodes ago when we were talking about Medieval Resurrection. And it probably would have been better to talk about it then because I had a bunch of ideas in mind, but whatever. Medieval is this PlayStation 1 action game. He plays a skeleton called Sir Daniel Fortescue. He's a pretty cool guy. He's got no jaw, so he talks all fucked up. Like you'd talk without a jaw. Wasn't an overly difficult game. Like I had a bit of trouble with it as a kid, but it's not at all punishing, I don't think. It was cool in that every level you had an objective to like kill so many enemies and then find a hidden cup, the Chalice of Souls, and then you take that to the end of the level and you get a new weapon. It could be like a longbow with fire or an axe that you could either swing with or throw or whatever. I don't know, it was just a really charming game, a really solid PlayStation 1 action game. Unlike any medieval game that's come after it, when you hit your weapon, or, when you hit your attack button, it always did exactly what you wanted it to do. Like, there was no delay or anything. You could, it's a real responsive game. Like, I think it's aged really well. Graphically, It's kind of janky as fuck, because, it's early PlayStation 1, like, heads are cubes and shit like that.
They all look like shit, yeah.
For what it is, it's aged really well. Like, things that the remake didn't have. There were a lot of good puzzles in the game. So like some levels would just be devoted to puzzles. Like there's this level called the Sleepy Village where there are enemies, but you can't kill them because you start with like so many souls in your chalice. And these are hypnotized townspeople. So if you kill them, you're killing innocent people, and they take chalices, or they take souls out of your chalice, meaning you'd be unable to collect your chalice and get your reward. So, like, that turns the game on its head because you can't approach anything the way you've been playing the game. So, like, the best thing you can do is run into them with your shield and stun them a bit. And then it's just, you have to explore this little town and, like, go into houses and find a bunch of stuff to... It's just like it's a puzzle level, and it's really interesting. It breaks the flow of just the straight up action just enough so that it's like, okay, this is a puzzle level. You gotta think instead of just hack at zombies and shit. And another level in particular, you gotta work with riddles, and that felt real medieval fantasy to me. Like you're talking to this hedge gargoyle, and he's just like, all right, fucker, I got 4 riddles, figure them out in my maze. And you just gotta run around the level, figure out this guy's riddles, and feel real smart as a kid. And I don't know, it's just it's probably because I played it when I was a kid that I love it so much, but I think it's aged really well, and
yeah,
it's one of the best PlayStation 1 games in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
And you played it again a little bit recently, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm kind of sad that they never really did more with the game as a series, you know what I mean?
Well, let me tell you my theory on that. So, a small independent British company was working on the game, and right before it got finished, Sony bought the company so they could publish the game. But then it's my understanding that they completely gutted that company, and they didn't get to work on anything else. Like, that's probably why Medieval 2 feels and plays and is just like completely different from Medieval 1, and it's a much lesser product in my opinion. Like, some of the same people might have worked on it, but the company was bought and gutted by Sony. Yeah. So any proper good sequel they could have made, it never happened. And that's kind of heartbreaking. Because Medieval 1, you could tell, like, the people working on that game, they were funny. Like, there was witty writing, and it was just solid gameplay. And striking visual design, especially given the hardware limitations. Like, there's levels I still remember as being visually interesting from the PlayStation 1 era.
Yeah, but you could tell that they enjoyed doing what they were making. They liked it. They were having fun.
You could tell
a lot of love
in that game, yeah. Yep. So that's kind of a bummer, but definitely play that game. Like, I think it's even on PSN. You can play it on your Vita, PS3, whatever the fuck. You got no excuse not to play this game, goddammit. It's a good game. Incidentally, I've also got a playthrough on YouTube on my channel. I'm going to shill myself. Mad Moai. I can probably put a link to that in the show notes for today's episode. It's just a silent playthrough, because at the time I made it, I was really against Let's Players. Because, sometimes you just want to watch video game footage, and, you don't want some asshole talking over it. But then I got to thinking, this was before the podcast, I'm like, hey Mel, we should probably do like a separate voiceover commentary for that Medieval footage. And, I wouldn't take down the original footage. I would just have a second playlist of, like, with commentary and without commentary. Mm-hmm. That way people can look at just the gameplay, or they can hear what we have to say on the game. Because I could talk for as long as it takes to play that game. I guarantee it. I got lots of memories tied to that game, so that's some good shit. Check it out if you want to see what we're talking about. It's in the show notes right below what you're watching here. Do you have any final thoughts, Mel?
No, I just kind of want to go play Medieval now.
You should do that, because then we can, we can record the commentary for those videos and be the same kind of people I hate. Yes. Except we won't make stupid, horrible jokes. We'll just kind of talk about the game, and no fucking face cams. I cannot abide that shit.
No.
Your face has nothing to do with the goddamn video game.
Nobody cares what you look like.
It's narcissism.
Probably I'm pretty.
No. I'm at the Mad Moy on Twitter.
And I am at some math dork.
We also have a show Twitter account. It's at Starport Resort, but nobody talks to it. It's a lonely account. I look at it over in my 5th tab in TweetDeck, and it's me, and me. Yes, just me talking to Starport Resort. It's talking to myself, really, because I run the Twitter account. Possible narcissism? Alright, that's it for this week. Talk at you in 2 more weeks. Oh! Before we forget, okay. Mel, I'm probably not going to be around the days of E3 happening, unfortunately. So the next episode we record is going to have to be after everything's taken place.
That's probably better.
Well, with the nature of my new shifts and whatnot, I can't really justify taking a week off when I could just watch the conferences at work.
Yeah.
So, but you guys will still get probably a huge episode next, or on the 19th or 20th, whenever we end up recording it, because there will be a lot to talk about. I have to imagine. I have to hope. Even if there's a lot of bad shit to talk about, it'll still be funny. Okay, that's enough rambling for now. Just thought I'd let people know that not to expect like 5 episodes around E3 like I'd originally planned. But what can you do? Real life sucks.
It does.
Okay.